Hey everyone, so welcome to my channel once again. So today I'm going to take some time and quickly show you how to set up Nextbase Ultimate. And Vasco here is joining from Spain and he's helping me out with questions, and he's a new owner of Nextbase Ultimate, and we're just doing this demo together so that this demo will help him as well as everyone who's watching. And if he has any questions, I'll be able to answer in a very interactive manner. So with that, Vasco, welcome. So if you have anything to say,
Thank you very much.
yeah.
No, just happy to be here and help you out and help everyone who's gonna have those questions regarding Nextbase and the ones I'm having right now.
Thank you. Thanks, Vasco. Yeah. So let's get started. So first of all, this is the repo that you get. Wait, let me first share my screen. So this is the repo that you first get access to the moment you purchase Nextbase Ultimate. So if you buy Essential, there's a different repo. Pro also a different repo. And we try to maintain change logs on nextbase.com/changelog, so you can see all the things that are changing as we launch more and more features and fix bugs. So this is where all the code for Ultimate resides. The way we are able to do sanity checks is because we are able to see if all tests are passing, and so we test for migrations, we test for build finishing successfully. That's how we know that the code is good to go the moment you purchase Nextbase. So I'm going to quickly clone the repository, and I'm just run git clone this. And while that is happening, I'll go to Supabase and I'll set up my database for my project. So I'm going to do this by clicking on new project and going to Nextbase, and then select I don't know, I'll just come up with a name and a strong password. So I have to make sure that whichever password I set here, I save somewhere, because I'll need to use it as I continue the installation on my local machine, as well as when I deploy it eventually to Vercel or Railway, whichever app you use. So save my password, and yeah, I think we are ready. Let's create our new project. So the clone should have now finished. So let's open this in Cursor. So in case you're not familiar, Cursor is just a VS Code clone. Let's open this. So Cursor is just pretty much VS Code clone, but it has a nice AI panel on the side. So all of you AI heavy users, you'll find Cursor very enjoyable. I think GitHub Copilot has caught up to Cursor a lot, but I personally prefer using Cursor. Yeah, but the setup will be the same whether you use VS Code or any editor of your choice. Okay. So the Supabase project is being set up. So let's take a look at the table editor. So Supabase is really cool. The reason why we went with Supabase is also because it has a really nice Postgres table view. It also has a database section where you can see all your Postgres functions, your triggers, and your roles. Just a very powerful platform that you can use. And the thing with Nextbase is that because we only use the Supabase tables and not anything else, it means that you can self-host your Supabase if you want, and you can just deploy your Supabase tables onto AWS or any platform of your choice, even Docker. I think it should work pretty seamlessly. Right, so the tables are empty, and now we are going to finish the setup and push our tables onto Supabase. So for Nextbase to run well, we need a bunch of tables. So we need organizations tables, billing, all of these tables that we configured beforehand for you. So let's take a quick look at all the tables that are going to be set up. Yeah, so when we set up the Supabase folder is where all the magic lies in. So we have a list of migration scripts that are going to run, and these will install all of our tables onto Supabase. So let us set up Supabase onto our local machine. So to do that, I'm just going to clone this and just call this env.local. So I have a few environment variables that I need to configure. So let's grab this from Supabase. First, I need the Supabase URL. Yeah, Supabase URL. Then I need my anon key. and then my service role key. Oops. And my JWT secret. So generally for most projects you don't need the service role key and JWT secret. So the reason why we need this is because we have the admin panel functionality, and that requires the users to be able to bypass row level security. So that means that the admin user has many privileges, and he'll be able to freely add or remove rows from the your tables, and is not bound by security. So generally the row level security is configured in such a way that as a user I should only be able to see my data and not maybe Vasco's data and so on, and vice versa. But the admin panel is for the for admins who are able to see everything, and you can customize what you want to be able to see and so on. So that is where this yeah, Vasco.
So let's say if we don't have the service key, will the app completely render with just the actions, like for example, delete a user from the table? Will it not work, but the table will still load, or does the admin panel needs the service key 100%?
So there are a couple of ways to delete a user. So one way would be to use the Supabase. So as an admin, you'll always have this dashboard, and you don't require anything to use this. But in the admin panel, you'll not be able to access the admin panel without the service role.
Okay, the whole admin panel.
Yeah.
Okay.
You require this.
Just want to make sure.
Also, the admin panel has a nice login functionality that you will be able to use to log in as a different user. So for that reason, we need the Supabase JWT secret. This is how we are able to create tokens on the fly and be able to log in as a user to maybe debug a problem that is very unique to that user and so on. So very powerful feature. Okay, so I think we are more or less set up. So let's also just add the project ref, and I think we are done. So now what I'll do is I'll just do yarn Supabase login. I think I'm already logged in, so I think I'll just link project ref and this. Oh, I need to run yarn. Sorry. Let's take a few moments. So meanwhile, let me also just quickly show you the code base at a high level. So the Supabase folder is what I talked about. All of your migrations are present here. We don't use this for pretty much anything. The only folder you have to care about is migrations. I don't care about this and this. Honestly, I don't use it at all. And then you have the SRC folder where all of our Next.js logic lies in. And we have our public folder for our assets. And then this is where our React email components are configured. So React email components will allow you to write emails using React.email, and you'll be able to send them with any email provider like SendGrid, Resend, and so on. And then we have our ETU tests set up for Playwright over here. This is still work in progress, but we just have a setup here, so this will run fine. Except we need to create a bunch of unit tests to test authentication and all of that. So we're actually working on this right now. So this will roll out in a few weeks. So I think our yarn just ran. So let's try to link our project now. I'll need my database password, which I saved. Okay, so Supabase link has finished. Nothing really changes here. We still don't have any tables, but now let us run yarn Supabase db push to push all of our migrations onto Supabase. Okay, that has run successfully. So now this has created a bunch of tables for us. Okay, we'll get to them eventually one by one, but once you run Supabase db push, you have to make sure that all of your tables are showing up over here. They'll usually show up. Okay, so now just for sanity check, even though you don't need to run this, but it's a good habit that whenever you start updating your tables, creating new columns, new tables, and so on, you want your TypeScript types to be able to pull the types onto your end. So we have a nice function called script called generate types local. Unfortunate naming, but that is what we have here. So yarn this, and what this will do is this will go to Supabase and then fetch the types once again. Oh, okay. I think I may have missed something. So this should work. Wonder why it doesn't.
Yeah.
Any idea why this isn't working? Did you try this? You probably didn't, right?
I can try. Just 1 second.
Let me run. Actually, I can run this without. I'll just hardcode this command with project ref and see if that runs. Okay, that ran.
Okay, so probably was a bash
So
error or something.
yeah, something here which is probably wrong. .env.local, which I do have, and I have this set up. Oh, I think it's the comments. Oh.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's remove these comments. It's not a big deal. I thought comments were valid though. This is strange. Okay, so let's continue from here. So all right, so a good practice for anyone who's using TypeScript heavily, it's a good idea that whenever you update your tables on Supabase, you want to make sure that your schema is up to date with that information. So when you add a new table, new columns, you want that to show up on your TypeScript types. So you should run yarn generate types local to fetch the up-to-date types from Superbase and then update your database.types.ts. So you'll be able to save a lot of runtime errors and catch them at build time. Okay, so we'll just quickly take a look at the database types, and for example, we have a table called organization join invitations, which is basically our user invite system, and that table will show up here, and it has information about how the operation should go about. So if I have to insert a new row, I need at least the invite user email. If I have to update, then I need at a minimum if I have to if I fetch the row, then I'll have all of these values and so on. So this ensures that you'll just never have any weird runtime issues and catch all of them in build time. So now that we have a project ready, so let's run yarn dev. Our project is set up. We should be able to test out our app now. Let's head over to localhost 3000. There is still a little bit of setup still remaining for authentication to work, and that is we need to set our redirect URLs in authentication. So let's quickly do that. I'll head over to my project. Okay, so in my authentication section, I'll have to ensure that my emails are properly configured for localhost 3000 as well. So I'll head over to my URL configuration. So this is something that Supabase already sets up for you, which is good, but you'll also need to add this to redirect URLs, and I'm just going to say localhost 3000, and then yeah, it's fine if any of the redirect URLs have the same host. So I want to catch all redirect URLs which are on localhost 3000, and eventually you'll also want, the moment you deploy your app to production, you want to put your app domain here, and then also just put this. So that way all the redirect URLs for this path are accepted by Supabase authentication. And I'll also just quickly take a detour and talk about the providers. So right now there is only email configured, but let us say you want to configure Google. You'll have to enter your credentials here, and that's pretty much it. You don't have to do much else. The redirect URLs are all configured here itself, so these will itself do the job. But the thing that you have to do is, if you have to configure Google, you have to grab your client ID, client secret, and some other information you need here, and then check this box, and then you'll be set up. But for the purpose of this demo, we'll just stick with email. So now that this is set up, let's try to create a new account. I need to sign up, so I'm going to do panapali5@gmail.com. Hopefully I get an email. Let's see. So one thing to note here is that Supabase mentions very clearly on their site that this email service that they provide is very rate limited. It is severely rate limited, in fact, and sometimes the email takes around 5 minutes to receive. That is completely normal because you should not be using Supabase for your emails. I personally recommend using Resend. They have a pretty generous free plan, and they have very good deliverability, and I'm sure you'll enjoy using Resend. But while you're testing on development, it's fine to use Supabase, but the moment you launch your app, just switch to Resend, and you'll have to configure this with there is a custom SMTP configuration that you'll have to go for. I think, let me show you, should be somewhere here. Yeah, authentication. So this is in dashboard project authentications. So here you'll be able to set up your custom SMTP, and you'll configure Resend, and then grab your project details and then update them over here, and then the emails will come from Resend instead of Supabase. Okay, so that's something that you definitely have to do for production. Anyway, I received my email just now. I think it's been a few minutes, but let's grab the link address and then try to wait. I think I missed something else. Oh yes, I just remembered. Another value, the env variable that you definitely have to set is next public site URL. So this you have to set to localhost 3000 on development, and on production you'll want to set this to your domain. And the reason why we need this is because we don't have this information on Vercel. So when you try to send a redirect URL to Supabase, you don't know the domain from which you are making the authentication. So we need this information to send to Supabase in the redirect URL settings. Right? Did I make sense, Vasco? I mean,
it was clear.
Yeah. So this next public site URL is pretty important. And now let's try again. Hopefully I get the email now, because they only send 3 emails per hour. That's like the hardest limit possible. Let's see. So until now, do you have any other questions, like Vasco? Is everything clear? Or
so I do have, but it's mostly more ahead. So I don't know if you want them. I think I will ask them when you're explaining that part. I think it's better.
Cool.
But for now, not many issues regarding the other ones I have.
Sounds good.
So for now, everything is clear.
Okay. Hopefully this works, please. Not ideal. Okay. So
I do have. Yeah. Sorry. I do have a question. It's regarding Resend. Mostly, did he answer your Twitter post regarding the issue that we're having?
On Resend?
Yeah.
Actually, my domain was not configured correctly, but I had a confirmation check mark in Resend, so that was the confusing part. So, so it was mostly my mistake. So I was moving my name servers from Vercel to Cloudflare, but I thought I did everything right, and Resend was showing a green check mark, but it was just misconfiguration. So yeah. So these 3 errors, these happen because of this React dialog, and I think there's an open issue on GitHub, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, so I'll just enter my details here, and I'll be hopefully taken to my dashboard next. Oh boy, hydration errors. Yeah, so I'll have to make a note to fix that bug, but okay. So now we are into the dashboard in Nextbase, and so this user is just a generic user, and they don't have access to any admin panel powers, but you see this admin panel preview here. So this is just for demo purposes that we built to show users how the Nextbase, how admin panel will look like. We'll get to that, but right now we are at our default organization screen, and these are just some charts to show you that Nextbase integrates pretty well with Tremor.so or any charting library that you want to use. And then we have organization home, settings, members. You'll be able to invite users onto your team, right? So this is just the owner. I'll be able to invite users who I want to, and then once I configure my Stripe, I'll be able to access my billing section. Then organizations also have sub teams. So So this is typically useful for enterprise customers. Most SaaS projects do not need teams, so you should be able to rip out teams pretty easily because we made it optional. First of all, we made it pretty optional. So the projects that you create, you can create them at organization level and also team level. So most SaaS projects, such as the one that you're building, Vasco, you can just delete teams and just nothing changes for you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So I'll just do project A, something create project. And once the project is created, I'll be taken to the project screen, and I'll be able to add some comments. Hey, test, etc. Yeah, the comments get added here. So again, these are just some features mainly to show you how you can implement them. Whether you use them or not is separate, but how would you implement a comments feature? How would you implement a comments feature that is pretty much immediate? So this uses optimistic updates. So the moment I submit, it gets added here, but once the comment goes through, it gets stuck. So just some good programming practices which are added to Nextbase, so that depending on your requirement, you'll be able to modify the logic for your use case that you're building. And
Great.
what else? So we also have a very nice feature which is notifications. So you'll be able to, so in this case, this is just a dummy notification. There's nothing much to see here, but I'll be able to mark my notifications as read. And then there's something I wanted to show. Okay, this unread bar should go away. What else? There should be a help somewhere here. Yeah. So just a small dialog box to show what Nextbase is about. And yeah, you can configure this for you can make onboarding models based on this. And you can link your notification to show the help section if you want. But yeah, ultimately what happens on the notification is pretty generic. There isn't anything really set up. Also, the notifications that we already configured is that if you, let us say, if you invite a user to the organization, they get a notification that they have been invited. So we only configured a couple of notifications for you to base your notifications work on. Let me just quickly show that. Yeah, so we have these 3 notifications built in for now. So if a user is invited to an organization, then this is how the notification body will look like. And if they accept, this is the body. And so let us say I invite you, then you get this notification, and the moment you accept, I get this notification. So that is how this has been configured. And yeah.
So if we want to add our custom notifications, we'll just add the schema here, and it will. Okay, perfect.
Exactly. So yes. So for your custom notification, you will just do something like.
I just export the scheme of the notification. That's it.
And then this.
And all of these are based on the same table, I guess.
Yes.
On the
same
base. Okay.
Yeah. So the reason. So first of all, there are multiple ways of doing notifications. We just wanted to go for a way that is reasonable and also not too difficult for people to build, because another way of building notifications is just having many tables and reference many foreign keys and just make it really difficult. But we just went for a pretty simple structure. So you have this table, and then is seen, is read, true and false, and all of that. And then there is a payload which is JSONB. So this is pretty simple. It covers most use cases, right? And yeah, should be pretty easy.
And the type would be the scheme I defined on the page before. Okay, yeah, perfect. I understand.
So this yeah.
This would be the welcome notification. Okay, perfect.
Yes. And the way to create a notification is also pretty simple. There is a create notification, command, and you can just pass your payload to this. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So now that this is set up, what do I show next? Okay, so now let us see how to set up Stripe. So yeah, until now, do you have any other questions on the setup or?
Not on the setup, more what you're going to explain now. So I have a question regarding good practices regarding the user auth. So just an example of a page in which we check for the user authentication, either we use the middleware or get the session inside of the page.
Okay.
And if we should store data inside the user's metadata, so for example, on my profile page on the last application I made, I had all the value, like all the information inside user metadata, and from there I would load the profile page and everything. I don't know if this is a good practice. I would like to know. And how it would be to create a new page or to create a new page, so we can add it to the dashboard, to the sidebar that's on the left. And yeah, the good practice is to set up the page, like a user session, and how should we call Supabase so we don't get unnecessary calls, because something I had issues was creating React pages. It made them re-render a lot of times, mostly, or it's some issue, or it's some user effect that it's loading it twice. So there was a lot of API calls to Supabase that were mostly unnecessary. And I would like, and I think everyone would like, an example of a good practice page to get all the information needed.
Okay. So one good practice so first of all, generally why, first of all, the reason why these, many API calls to Supabase or any of your database providers happen when database calls are made using useEffect, and there is maybe a dependency check missing or something like that. So what we do personally is that we just don't use useEffect for data fetching. We mostly just rely data fetching with server actions and server components. And if we ever do data fetching, then we do with React query. And first of all, most of our data fetching is using the render as you fetch pattern. So we use suspense. And let me show you an example. So this is a really good question and a good segue to talk about how our authentication works. So if you look at our app directory, so we have segregated our pages into dynamic pages and external pages. So external pages are cached, so for 60 seconds, and then we have our dynamic pages, and these include our login pages and authenticated pages, and these are not cached. And so let us take a look at authentication pages, and this will probably give you some idea of what's happening. So this is our authentication pages root layout. So at this point, any page below this layout has to have a user has to exist. So what we do here is we use the Supabase user server component client, and we then check if we try to get the user from the session, and if the user does not exist, then we redirect them back to login, and this layout will render for pretty much every page in this layout.
Yeah.
So this is all we care about. This is all the check that happens. And for all the internal pages, if you want to get the existing logged in user, we have a util called server get logged in user. So this can only be run on server components, and any of your all pages and all layouts in Next.js are server components by default. So you'll be able to render them in any page. So for example, if I take a look at, let us say, our user settings page, for example, so we are able to get our user over here in the page itself, and we are able to pass that information to our settings page. So one thing to notice here is that these are server components, and notice that there are no hooks, there is no use effect or anything, and so this data is fetched, and while this data is fetched, nothing really loads on the page. However, there are ways to we have already put in ways to make this as seamless as possible. So while the data loads, you will see a nice loading animation or a loading screen, and the way we do that is by using suspense. So Next.js supports a feature called streaming suspense render, and what happens is that, for example, we have this navbar section. This navbar section has some loading internally, and what I want as a user is, as a developer, is that I don't want my users to wait for my navbar to load, because the important part is already loading independently. So that's why I've wrapped it inside suspense, and until the data in my navbar loads, suspense will just render nothing. It will render a fallback, and the rest of the page can load quickly. So I can show the behavior. If I reload the page, parts of the page will load independently, it feels like it loaded instantly, but the reason why it looks instant is because even though there are heavy database calls happening behind the scenes, you'll never see a blank screen. So that's how it works. So either we show a loading indicator, or you see a slight small loading text there. So we make sure that the page loads progressively, and we also make sure that this is using the render as you fetch pattern. So that way there are never any excessive data calls to your database provider to answer your question on the making too many calls to Supabase and so on. So just want to recap on authentication. So I think the utility that you want to use is the server get logged in user. This will suffice in most cases. You'll be able to check if the user is logged in. If you want more information about the user profile, so that is different. So there you'll have to fetch the profile of the user by using some of our functions already present. So all of our data utilities are present in our data folder. So anonymous users will have this. Authenticated users have this. This folder is for authenticated users, and this is for login, sign up, all of that. And then this is for the admin panel. So we have neatly segregated all of them by role. Okay.
So if I would make a new data fetching, I would add it to this folder to keep the structure.
Yes.
Okay, all clear.
Okay, so now I think we can. Do you have any other questions on authentication, or is anything missing that I could have explained better, or?
No, I mean, I do have a question regarding if it's a good practice to store user information in its metadata, or would you create a new table and there load all the profile information you have?
By metadata, what do you mean? Where does it?
So if you go to the tables on the Supabase.
Okay. Yeah.
So I remember the user notifications was being loaded on JSONB.
Yeah.
So the same thing, if you go to schema onto the left, on top, above new table, there's schema public.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, you go to auth.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
There we go. And they go to users, the last table.
Yeah, they have a metadata field, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if this is a good practice, but they have a raw user that was behind. It was a raw user metadata. Yeah. So that's where I stored information, like in the profile they would save their phone number. Well, I think the phone number no, but like name, surname, those kind of stuff that the auth table doesn't have. I would just save it there.
Yes.
It worked. I mean, it didn't have any issue. I would just like to know if it's a good practice, or would you recommend creating tables to store the user information?
No, it is fine. It's a good practice. The only thing you'll miss out is, I think, type safety. But because this is just a JSONB, you will not know what type it is. But there isn't any problem using that. Also, there's a slight. So it's like there is a con and there's also a pro. And the pro is that the moment you fetch the user using the server. Using the server get logged in, here itself you'll be able to access metadata. So you don't have to make an extra API call. But for most pages, you don't need to make that API call. Also, the API call happens independently, like I said, in Nextbase Ultimate. So this part loads slower. So even though there is an extra API call, it does not make the page slower. So that's the reason why we preferred having a user profiles table and just store everything there, so that there is type safety and our forms can clearly show what data is required just by basing on the table structure. However, you can still go for metadata and store as much information as you can. You can also store your Stripe customer ID, any of those details there, but up to you.
Okay. I think the type thing is important. I think I should benefit from it since it's already available. Also, just had a question. Just forgot about it. Well, let's continue. If I remember the question.
Sure. No problem. So when you remember, you can ask.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
So what I'll do is I'll set up a new Stripe account.
Yes, I
Yes.
remember the question.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's say since imagine this project, how would I access the organization ID for the user? Since mostly of my I plan to create a skill map for each company. So in this case, it would be organization ID. I would like to know how could I retrieve. So since I'm gonna make a table, I would that table pass the organization ID, and from there the table will load all the skills from the organization ID. I would like to know how on a page I can access the organization ID from that user and pass it as a prop for another component. Well, the prop thing as another component is really easy to understand, but just I would like to know the correct way of retrieving the organization ID.
So, which page are you on? So, let us say.
I don't know, just any kind of page that you retrieve. So, for example, on the I don't know which current page. So
Okay.
there's a dashboard for the organization, right?
Yes.
So that page loads the organization ID
Yes.
from the user. Yeah. How would
Okay. So the thing is, the URL itself has the organization ID.
okay. But what if so I guess you have a check that if a user that's not inside that organization tries to log in, go to the organization ID of another company,
They
it
can't.
gives an error.
Yeah, they can't. The
Okay.
reason being,
So
because
my question.
there is row level security already configured.
Okay, on the database. Okay.
Yes. So
But my question is, before that, you retrieve the user organization ID.
So I think there's a small confusion on the flow. So the thing is, let us say I'm part of an organization. I'm not part of an organization, and I try to go to that organization. The select will fail. The select query will fail. So that means,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
So
I see. Okay. Basically, you just use the prop as an ID and just query from Supabase, and if the user doesn't have access through the row level security, it's just gonna return null, and it will not load to the page.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we have row level security configured for all the tables, and only users can read only organizations that they are part of. So
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. So now what I'll do is I'll quickly set up Stripe, Nextbase Ultimate Demo. Wait, I think it's this. So the process to set up Stripe is pretty simple. Just create a new account, and while you're developing, just make sure that you are in test mode. So anything you do is, that doesn't affect your balance at all. Also, one while I'm talking in the call, one optimization that we have planned is to have a test mode setting. So right now the way it works is you have to set up your test mode keys on development and production mode keys on production. But sometimes it is difficult to test everything properly. So we are thinking that maybe it's a good idea to be able to be able to test even test mode on production. So I don't know if it's a good idea, but do you know if anyone has done that, or if it's a good idea to do that? If you have any thoughts? Yeah.
I'm not aware, to be honest, if anyone has done that. But I do think it's a good idea for the developer, to be honest.
Yeah.
I do think.
Sometimes I feel like I want to test it. Anyway, so now our Stripe account is set up, and we need our secret key and publishable key. So I'm going to grab the publishable key, head over to my one moment. Yep, this is right. I'm going to head over to my env local and set my publishable key to this. I have too many tabs, and then the secret key goes here. What else do I need? I need my Stripe webhook. So this is a mistake. We should remove. There are two here, but we don't need both. I'm just going to go set my webhook secret. Yeah. So testing webhooks, the ideal way, the easier approach is to just deploy your app to Vercel, and then just give that endpoint, because the testing with local environment is pretty hard. You have to create your webhook payloads and yourself. So when a payment occurs, the shape of the payload, you have to do it manually and then test. It's pretty painful. So what we can do is I'll just deploy this app to Vercel, and we can test there. So what do you think?
To post it on Versal and test it from there.
Yeah, the reason being to test it.
Yeah, the manual testing is a lot of painful. Yeah, I've done it also, so I do understand. Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, most of the people who's gonna use Next, they're probably use Versal.
Yeah.
As for a small project, or if you do a production project, you're already gonna know about this. So I guess Versal is the best option to showcase.
Yes. So what we'll do is we'll just use the test keys on production and then just test it from there. So let me quickly deploy this. This is also an opportunity for me to show how to deploy this app to production.
Yeah.
So let's do that. What else? Is there anything else I'm missing here? I think I've covered most topics for now. So let's push this project somewhere and deploy. I'll go to Vercel. I'll go to my personal account. Private. Okay, and then get sorry, I have to remove the old origin and add the new origin. I don't think I have any commits to make. Okay. Okay, so I think this should push my code to GitHub. Okay, there we go. So let's go to Vercel and then let's create a new deployment for this project, and then I'll need to import. So many steps. Okay. Nice. Import and then set our env variables. So I can just quickly copy my env variables from here, and then just copy this. I don't need all of this. I can just copy these and then paste. And I just have to set my next public URL to, I think, HTTPS dot Vercel dot app. Something unique, and then deploy, and I'll have to set a domain. So there are still some warnings that I need to fix here, but these aren't related to my code base. But there are some warnings related to Nextbase Ultimate too, but I have them on my list. I'll get them in a bit. So one thing that is pretty annoying is the hydration error with React dialog. So this component, it's really well done. It's an amazing component, but it has some hydration errors with Next.js 13 and 14. It's pretty hard to fix, but I'll figure it out. So that's one. So I think the deployment has started. Okay. And let's quickly add a new production domain to this one. I'll change this to this. It's not a fully qualified domain.
Yeah, remove
the protocol. So now, like we already discussed, I have to make sure that I add this to my Supabase configuration in URL configuration here, and just set this so that I receive emails correctly. Nice. And now, meanwhile, while it's deploying, I'll go to my Stripe and then just add HTTPS. HTTPS. I think it's API Stripe. Wait, I have to check. It's app and then API. Oh no, so I think it's pages. So pages, API Stripe webhooks. API Stripe webhooks. I think this should do it. Stripe webhooks. Yep, this should do it. So now we have configured an endpoint so that when events happen on Stripe, we are able to receive them onto our. I'll just select all events for now. So now once I create an endpoint, I'll receive a signing secret which I'll need to add to my Vercel. So let's go to Vercel once again, env variables, and then update my Stripe webhook secret to this. I think I'll just remove the live. It's not important. Okay, so I think this is set up now. So I think Vercel is properly set up. What we'll do is just for sanity check, we'll just ask Vercel to redeploy this after it finishes with the new environment variables. So once we configure Sentry, this error won't appear, but yeah, this is not a prerequisite for deployment to Vercel or any other platform, including Rail. You can also, one other alternative, I think, Vasco, if you prefer, I think railway.app is also pretty good. You can also deploy to render, I think.
Yeah, I read about Railway, but when I was, that was on their third week release, so I didn't really want to trust them with the production app. Wanted to wait a bit to see how they go.
What do you use mostly? Do you use Vercel or any other?
Vercel and Supabase. Yeah, for my last 3 projects, that was
okay.
That wasn't a choice. I mean, was wonderfully, they have a really good pricing system and making API, like everything works. So can't complain.
Okay, I have an error with recent. Oh boy. I didn't think that recent was a prerequisite.
I think you're missing the API key for recent.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll just add my local recent API key. But this is a bug. This shouldn't actually
Be
fail
hard.
development, right? I mean, it's not important for deployment. So what I'll do is I have an API key for recent. So I'll just make a note of fixing this.
So what were you just redeploying the new version, right?
Yeah.
With the
So
API.
with the Stripe webhook and recent API key. So let's see. So first of all, recent should not be a prerequisite. So I'll remove that. And then, what was the other thing? There was another bug I have to fix. Yeah, I think the dashboard reload.
The ones that the console, when it's the first time running, you mentioned there was an error that goes, but then it goes away on the console log on the first build, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it was, I don't know.
Recent is pretty good. I've been using Recent for all my projects. It's pretty good. I also use post hoc. So Nextbase comes with post hoc support as well, and post hoc will allow you to see the sessions of your users and help you debug the issues pretty well. Also, it has an analytics built in as well.
Okay, and those, one question I was having was the integrations you mentioned.
Yeah.
Which ones are those? You need to pay for them. I mean, I guess Recent obviously does, but the rest, post hoc and all of this, do you know the pricing about them?
Yeah, post hoc is they have, so even for Recent I don't pay anything. It's free for now because my email list is not that big. For Recent, post hoc, all of these have very generous free plans. So I don't think I pay for any of them at this point. Yeah, pretty much I'm in the free plan. Yeah, all of our integrations, they are in the free plan. So eventually I'm also planning to integrate API key authentication with unkey unkey. I think it's unkey.dev, and this is also really good, amazing service. We are using it at Supertranslate, and again they also have a pretty generous free plan, so it's okay, it's not bad. And you can also self-host this. You don't have to rely on unkey.dev. You can grab the code from GitHub and host it yourself. So that way, if you can manage the pricing at your convenience. So I only go for tools which have a bailout. So if you don't want to use that tool, I want my users to be able to maybe host it themselves or something like that, and not get stuck on that.
Yeah, that's why I chose Supabase.
Yeah, even Supabase, exactly. So that's the reason why I went with Supabase. Anyway, so let's hope this build succeeds. The first build takes around 4 minutes, but eventually the build time comes down. So until the cache, the Next.js cache is built, it can take a few minutes. Also, we are planning on adding a few landing pages to the Nextbase Ultimate plan. So around 10 to 25 pages, which are free for Ultimate users. Pro and the others can upgrade to Ultimate to get it, or they can also just pay a small amount.
And regarding languages, does the code offer localization?
No.
Okay.
We intentionally did not do that. The main reason being most SaaS projects don't require localization, and we did not want to add too much complexity to our code base and the URLs.
Yeah. I mean, at the end, it's something really easy to add, so I'm sure any developer can just.
Also, another thing is we did not want to establish a pattern. So some people want to have the language in the URL, and some people don't want it. So there are some really strong choices to be taken there, and we didn't want to do that on behalf of the user. So we thought of localization a lot, and we intentionally did not add it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I think the build has succeeded. Also, man, really thank you for doing this. This helps me a lot.
No problem.
Really. Yeah.
I mean, at the end, I'm also learning, so it's great for both of us. No worries.
I appreciate it. Okay, so I think the deployment is done. Let's see if we are able to log in. So I'll just enter my email again. Okay, yes, I received a login email. Hopefully it takes me into my dashboard. Wait, is this my old URL? Okay, that didn't work.
It says failed to send magic link.
Oh, okay. Let's see why. I think this is the rate limit. I'll do one thing. I can just change my password here. The rate limiting is so annoying. One moment.
Yeah.
So I'll just set a password and I'll log in with password. Okay, so in my security settings, I can go to my security settings page and then set my own password here. Let's put something random. Then update my password, and then I'll just use that to log in here. Yep. Okay, there we go. So we are now into the app on Vasco. So now I just want to go to the billing page, which hopefully doesn't error out. Okay, there are no plans, there is no pricing table to show because we don't have anything in our Stripe yet. So what I'll do is now, since we have our Stripe webhook set up, we can go to our Stripe product catalog and add a new product. So I'm going to call this starter, and then it's a recurring project, let us say, and I want it to start at $19, and then great starter plan something. I don't know. This is irrelevant, it will not show up on the pricing page anyway, but okay. So now let's add a product. Let's add another one called maybe Pro, and then something else, and then 99 USD, build monthly. Okay, and then I can also add yearly plans. So add in the price, USD I think 190 yearly, and then create price. Oh, okay, whatever. Same thing with this.
So regarding Stripe,
Yeah.
would it be possible? I mean, as of now, is there any way we could manage how many users are inside an organization and charge on Stripe based on the amount of users? So let's say we offer this plan, but per user.
Oh yeah. So you can customize within Stripe how to do that. So you can charge on a per user basis. You can.
Okay, and okay, so it's more on the Stripe side rather than on the Google side. Okay.
No,
Okay.
so it's like you'll have to do both. Because this is a pretty unique feature. Not many people do this, but it's not as common as just subscriptions. So you'll have to configure Stripe to charge on a per user basis, and then in the front end you'll have to write code to check how many users are there in the organization, and then just say.
Just return the. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now so this is a good like our webhooks are working. When I reload the page, it is showing this, and now I can click on start free trial or whatever, and it will take me to the Stripe page. Oh wait, I think it won't. Oh, it did. That is strange. I think the only reason why it took me is because this is test mode, but for live mode you have to enable live mode first, and then you'll also have to create a customer portal So just one extra setting for you to do in live mode, but in test mode I think it will work. So it will show you when it fails, it will show you the error and how to fix the error in the console. It will just say that just make sure you set up your customer portal and it will work. But yeah, you'll get there. Once you get there, you'll figure it out. So yeah, I can just go to some plan maybe. So these are the credentials that will always work. Something. Let's change my country. I have some restrictions in India. Okay. So now let us start trial. Okay, this was successful. Now if I go back to my billing page, I see that I'm on the starter plan trial, and I see the same thing here. Okay, so yeah, a lot of work has been done in billing to make it super easy for developers to integrate. There's an extra semicolon which is weird. I'll remove that, but yeah. Also, the thing is, only organization admins are able to change the subscription, so that is already there by default. So organization members and read-only members, they are not able to manage subscription, so that security is already there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could we just do a small example of adding a page on the navigation side?
Oh, okay, sure.
So just to show how people how to get started on reading.
Okay.
So you've explained where should it go, if it's an authenticated page or not, and how that worked. That was perfect.
Yeah.
Just show how could a user just create a quick page and add it to the navigation.
Okay. So this is at the organization level, right? Is it not?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we want to do is we want to add a page here beside that, maybe.
Okay. And on the project side would be similar, I guess.
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah, same. Okay, all clear.
So I'll just search for billing. There's organization sidebar here. So I can just add a page like this, but we'll also add a page, actual page. I'm just going to first put a link. Just say test page, and then let's say I want to go to a page called test. Okay, so this should bring up the test page in my local. So there is a test page here now. And now what I'll do is I'll have to go to my application pages, organization ID, specific organization pages over here. So the folder has to be, so you have to create a folder called test here. And then, okay, unfortunate naming. So the icon is test cases, but yeah. So I'll have to create a new component, new page for the test route. And here I'll have to create a new component, server component. So export function, export default function, my test page, and then return test. So now if I go to test page, in this area I should see test. Yeah, and optionally wait, const wait is equal to, yeah. So we have this. What I can do is, let us say I have a large API call, async function slow component. I can move my data fetching here. Let's say I want to wait 3 seconds and then return, I don't know, slow page. So what I'll do is I can just do export default this, but so let us say if I render this slow component here, then the page itself will take 3 seconds to load. I think, wait, did I miss something? Oh yeah. Right. So now the page itself will take around 3 seconds to load, but to make it feel like the page is much faster, I can just wrap this in suspense and just say fallback be loading slow page, and then if I reload, you
and wait to the page.
Yep. So that way the user does not see any of the slow stuff.
Yeah. Okay, great. Really easy to create new pages. So I do realize you have a toast message. So for example, on the login, it says magic link failed.
Yeah.
I would like to know how could I access it, because I think it's really useful for sending notifications like error messages and stuff. Just to follow the whole scheme on the page.
Awesome. That's actually a great question. So we have I'm not sure if you've used React Query. If you
long time ago, yeah.
Awesome. So they have a hook called use mutation.
Okay.
So we just wrapped use mutation with the toast.
Yeah.
So we just have this. So on success, on error, besides doing your usual stuff, also show the toast. And the way it works is you can directly make server API calls with your toast mutation. So the way that works is earlier before Next.js 13, you would write your server logic in API routes, and then in your mutation you would make a call. But now with server actions, you can just directly pretend that the server function is on the client side. Just call the function directly, right? So use
depending on error or success, you send the toast message to the mutation.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we have that here. So this use toast mutation just takes the server action, and then if there's an error, it will show this error message. That simple.
Okay. Great.
And if you want more customizability, all of these can also accept functions. So I think you can do something like this.
On above, you deem the success, for example.
Yeah, on success, if you want to do something, you can do this. Yeah. On top of
it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, all my questions are answered. I think you've done a really good job explaining how to start the project, how to set it up, how to create the new pages, how authentication works, how the structure is set up. Some random questions regarding how to use the toast and stuff. Supabase setup. I guess it's a pretty complete explanation on how to straightforward start everything, I think.
Thank you.
And I don't think you missed anything, to be honest. Just making a check, quick check. The emails, there's a folder called emails, in which, so I guess this is kind of the same as Supabase, where they have like an email configurator where you just type the message. So this is what it's sent, and this, for example, we use resend. This would be the email sent to the user.
No, so there are two parts. So some authentication emails are sent by Supabase.
Okay.
So these are additional emails that you can send for your transactional purposes. So let us say a user got a notification, you can send a notification email by using React email components. So what you'll have to do is in your code, the moment you send a notification, within that you can just say send email and then pass in this email template component as argument.
Okay, I understand. All clear. For future, so about the Ultimate, let's say you release a new update, how should we get the new update, set up everything, and mostly if we have, if we clone the project, we would always need to be on that repo and then keep pulling, or how would you recommend a new user setting up their GitHub environment to fully use the Git pool and everything? I don't know.
Yeah, so ideally what I would suggest is not to fork. Just clone the project on your end and then deploy it to your private repository. The reason being, if you fork, then I will be able to see the fork.
Okay.
So you don't want to give me those privileges. So you just clone the project and then just keep the remote origin, maybe a different name. So git remote add Nextbase and give the Nextbase SSH URL, and then you can continue your work. But the thing is, as we add our new features and you add your own features, our repo will diverge. So it will eventually be pretty hard for you to just pull my changes.
Yeah.
So the only way with boilerplates is that you just look at our change log, look at our commits, and just pull the code from there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there is no other way to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, of course.
But what we do from our end to make sure it is slightly easy for you is that we try to keep our new features as small and as neatly packaged as possible. So let us say we are adding a new feature called API, the API key auth. So we'll just try to have a single pull request which has the migration, it has the new components, and the setup for that particular piece, so that it will be helpful. But this is a new process that we started. Until now, we have been pushing the code as fast as possible, but we are streamlining that so that it will be easier for you to getting the new changes. But
okay, perfect. Yes, I don't think I have much more questions. The blog, well, regarding the blog.
Oh, I didn't show the admin panel. Oh man, one moment.
No worries. I just think, something Ultimate has, and it's really nice, and I think it's something you should show.
Yeah, for sure. Ultimate is, I'm very proud of this feature. It took me a long time to build, so I have to show this.
Sure.
So, to access the admin panel, so right now, this is just for demo purposes. There's nothing really here.
Yeah. So regarding the demo account, how do we remove this demo view thing for our project?
Which one?
So I guess So in this case, it's a demo page. So for example, all the values on the charts are made up.
Yes.
How would I create an account as a final user? Like, I don't know if I explained myself correctly.
Yeah. How do you become an admin, right? So I'll show that.
Yes. And how do you create? Because this account was created using the magic link. So I understand that every user that uses the magic link, as of now, they would have this a preview of the admin panel.
No. So it's not just the magic link. Everyone has the preview of the admin panel.
Yeah, of course. What I was saying is, you created the account with magic link, and now you logged in, and now you have the preview of the admin panel. My question is, how do I remove this for the final production project?
Yeah, you can just remove the folder here. So it's in app admin preview.
Okay.
And just delete this entire folder.
Okay.
And then remove the link. So that's
simple and easy. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. You can continue with the blogs.
Yeah. So now the way to make a user super admin, an admin, is that you copy the user ID from authentication users, and then you head over to just the SQL editor, and this is the only place where you can make a user admin. So no one will be able to do this from an API call or by using add-on keys or anything.
Okay.
So let's start from make user app admin, paste this and run. So this ran. Now I'm going to reload the page, and I'm the admin now. So I see admin panel. So if I head over to the screen, I'm just pulling some data from Stripe. So there is only one user, MRR 17. These charts take a while to load, and some of the styling is a bit off, but we'll fix that. And here is the blog section. Also, all users will be able to give feedback, which you will be able to view from the feedback section over here. There's no feedback at this point, but let us say as a user, I head over to my users area and just click on feedback and give some feedback. Good app, how does this work? Something like general, and submit feedback. That will get added here, and as admin I'll be able to view that from feedback list here. I think it will take a while to show up. It should show up immediately, right? So this is the thing, the revalidate path function in Next.js, sometimes it takes a while to clear the cache, but anyway, I'll fix this. Anyway, so now I can view the feedback from my user, and I can respond with a comment. Thanks for the feedback. Submit the comment, and I can also decide if I want to add it to my roadmap or make it visible to public. So if I do that, and if the status is, let us say, one of these three, so if it is planned, in progress, or completed, then it will show up in the roadmap. So if I say it is in progress and then update, if I head over to my roadmap page, I'll see this here, and users can also see this on the roadmap page. But there is a 60-second cache, right? So it will show up in 60 seconds. So this page is only refreshed every 60 seconds. Yeah, so it will show up then. But there's also one improvement that we can make to make it immediately clear the cache. I thought we did it. Yeah, it'll take a few moments. So it has to hit Vercel. Vercel has to clear the cache.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can take a few minutes, but it'll be available here. And then once it is completed, I can move it to completed and so on. So yeah, so this is the feedback thing, and you can also create change log, which will appear on the change log site. It's pretty simple, just a simple table where you can add some content. And then finally the blog area. So the way the blog area works is that first of all, you want to create an author profile. So even though you're an admin user, we don't have sufficient information for you to display as an attachment to the blog. So ideally you want something like Vasco, and this is the avatar URL, and this is my bio and all of that. So you want to first create that first. So I'll just create something user, and I don't care about avatar URL, but let's find something. Should have something, right? The avatar URL is pretty important. So can I grab this? I didn't realize that getting the image URL is that hard. Let me find some dummy image URL. Okay, this guy looks good. Copy image address and then paste it here. Oh, this is the, oh man, one sec. There we go. Paste it, submit profile. So now that the profile is created, I can now create a blog post and assign the author to that guy. Man, Vercel takes so long to revalidate. I'll fix this. I'll take a look at this. This should not happen. Anyway, first blog post, and uploading images as the cover image is also built in. So the way this works is when you upload an image, it goes and sits inside your Supabase storage here. So we have buckets for like user assets, public user assets, and blog. So so this is where the file sits. For user assets, every user has their own folder, and their assets will sit inside that folder. And this also has row level security, so a user will only able to see their own folder. So that way it is pretty secure. Now I can add my content, and this is built using the novel.sh editor, and it supports AI. So I can just do what is email, whatever, and it will this supports AI out of the box. So you can get an OpenAI key and integrate that into this editor, and you'll be able to write AI based blog posts in no time. So copy this, is featured, whatever, published. So if it's not published, it will not show up in the blog external blog page. I want this published, so I'll just, I don't have any tags. So blog post is created. Man, I didn't realize revalidate takes so long on Vercel. So strange. It's so strange. Anyway, the blog post is published. Let's go to again, we have to wait a few seconds for it to show up. Because the moment you land on the page, it will grab from the local cache and not from the server. But that is fine with the static pages. That is to save bandwidth. So the moment your app becomes popular, your page is only served once every 1 minute. So that way you are saving a lot of bandwidth and a lot of payments to Vercel. Anyway, so the blog post is published, and it looks like this pretty much.
Yeah, that was great.
And we used this on our landing page here. So this is so we made this blog post yesterday, and we are adding some features, like for example, code highlighting is something that we have it on docs. We don't have it on blog yet, but we are going to add this soon. I think we have it somewhere. Oh, I didn't realize we don't have it here. Yeah, so we have it, but it's pretty limited, but we're adding prism highlighting. So this will make it look much better. Yeah, so this is just, I don't know why the landing page is like this, but the prism highlighting looks pretty good once you start using it. So we'll add this, and it also have dark theme, so it will work in both scenarios. Yeah.
Okay. Regarding the dark theme and the white theme, is it out? So for example, the new page we made, the test one, if I change from white to dark, does it automatically change the colors and everything, or do I need to set up something on the page to fully work?
Yeah, no, it automatically changes. So the thing is, dark mode and light mode there are many global styles which change. So the text color, all of this will change by default. So there isn't much to change there. So let's actually confirm.
Because I suppose most of each applications are gonna follow a color scheme they have.
Yeah.
So changing from light mode to dark mode, I think it would change depending on the color scheme chosen.
Yeah.
But I might be mistaken. So if I, for example, would use, yeah. So the thing is, let's say, what happens if from test organization are slow, there's like a white box below. Like instead of, I don't know, if someone follows a different kind of user color scheme for different parts of the project, how could they adapt it to follow the...
Okay, that's a great question.
So let's say the first half of the page is white and the second part is black, like the background. Yeah. And when they switch it, above is black and below is white. How do they make the text not be based on the background?
Got it. So the way I would approach it is is like this. So in global.css, or wherever you write your styles, so let us say you have to make sure that you add styles for both dark mode and light mode. So so when you add your background color white or something, you have to ensure that you also add a corresponding dark :style, something like this. So it is generally this, but on dark mode I want this.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So pretty easy to adapt.
Yeah. So this is just standard Tailwind.
Yeah, Tailwind.
We're not doing anything custom here.
Okay. Great use of Tailwind for it. I'm just checking if I'm missing anything. So I was curious about how Sentry works, the integration. So I don't know if you want to make like a quick sum up of all the integrations, like Jest, Playwright, Sentry, Post-Hoc. Well, Post-Hoc we already talking about it. Well, React and Resend is already done. Google Analytics, yeah, mostly Playwright, Sentry, and Post-Hoc. Mostly how do they work and where should we change the files? Well, I guess it's gonna be in the root folder, a JSON file, like always.
For sure. So when it comes to For testing, we use vtest for unit tests. So just yarn test will do. So I wrote a simple test file called helpers.t.ts just to show how to write test cases with vtest. So you can just extend this and just keep writing your test cases for your utils. So then there is also vtest then there is also playwright, and playwright will run your e2e tests from here.
Okay.
And the command to run is also here. So yarn test e2e. So this is actually it's a bit hard to run this on my system while recording the meeting. It will take a lot of RAM, but this will start up playwright. You have to download playwright onto your machine and then run yarn test e2e. But GitHub Actions will also run this. So that's a green check mark we see on
the repo.
Yeah, on the repo. So it will run on GitHub Actions as well. And what was the other one? The other one was Sentry, right? So Sentry, we already have the configuration here. You just need the Sentry public DSN that you will get from the Sentry organization. And then there is also, I think there is another thing that you need to get. Sentry. One moment. I think. Yeah, it's just the Sentry public DSN. Once you get that, all your errors will be sent to Sentry. And to test whether Sentry is working properly, just remove the underscore on Sentry here, Sentry testing, and all of these routes will now become valid.
Okay.
So now you can just go to /test1/test2 and just trigger errors and see if they are being caught in Sentry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So these files are the relevant ones: Sentry client config, edge config, and server config. These files are mandatory, and you'll need them.
Okay.
Yeah. So we also have Google Analytics configured. You just have to. So this is within a try catch, but right now, since we don't have this ID,
it's
being caught. But ideally, you want to set that and remove the try catch.
Okay.
That will set up Google Analytics.
Yeah, for in-app notifications as of now on the admin panel, does it have like a mass communication thing where he can send a notification to all users? Or
You can, but
so as of now it's not done, but it's easy to implement, I guess.
Yeah, so the way it works is, let us say you want to send a notification for all users, then what that means is that you need to create as many users as notifications for every user.
Yeah.
Because each notification has its own eScene, EaseRead, and all of that. Right? So depending on how many users you have, you can send that notification. Another option that you can do is, as a developer, let us say you want to send a notification that doesn't need to have, like, if it shouldn't be a notification but behave like a notification, you can just create a different table and then just merge these together and just pretend like it's a notification and just do something with local storage, and maybe you can do something like that there. But
okay. Okay. I think my side, every question I had was cleared.
Do you have any feature requests, like any feature requests or any integration requests that we should think of?
Feature request, having an example folder, I think would be really interesting, like example client page, example server component. So people can quickly just go to that folder, see the example of how it should be done. So just like a whole file with the comments, basically, just like getting user authentication on the page. This function. I don't know, checking, creating a new table inside the page, this function. Just some small examples that the user can quickly see. Mostly regarding, I think it's more important with server actions and client components and stuff. But I think new React developers are more, new Next.js developers, I think that's where they want to really use Next.js. So yeah, having an examples folder I think would be great. Okay. And also, yeah, I don't know if you have any slide over components.
Okay, what do you mean? Like,
so okay, I can share you my screen, or you can go to Tailwind components.
No, you can share now.
Okay. Let me just here, share screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
I had Google Meet muted. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, Tailwind UI. Yes.
Okay. Just for example, like, so I was working with the. Slide over. Yeah. So, let's say.
Oh, I get it.
When this creates, an issue I had was mostly with layout, meaning that the new project, like this section above here, would be below the layout. So on the sidebar of Nextbase, it might load below. So I would like to know if this, how would we load an overlay above everything of the components?
So there is a I use ShadCN UI, right? And ShadCN UI has a sheet component. So you can just install that. And
okay, what was the name? Sorry.
I'll show you. 1 moment. So all of our components are pretty much from ShadCN UI.
ShadCN. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So here there is a sheet component, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
you can just use this. Yeah, just go for manual installation, or you can also go for CLI installation. Up to you, but just copy paste this code and just use it. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, I'll take a look at ShadCN.
So all of our components are using ShadCN UI. So.
Okay.
So also one thing I want to add is, like, if you have any requests for integrations, so for example like Sentry, Postdoc, we added these integrations, but if you want any integrations, you can just feedback. I'll see if it is useful for our users, and I'll just either add it to Nextbase, or I'll write a blog post on how to integrate that for your Next.js application, whichever is convenient. We'll do that. So.
Oh yeah, I think the blog posts are a great idea. And plus, they can stay there forever, so anyone who needs to check it, I think it's really useful. Yeah, I mean, everything, I got cleared a lot of information. I think you can get it running quite fast now, everything, and set it up. So yeah, I think mostly if I overcome any issue, will be in the future. I mean, while setting stuff up and stuff. But for now, I think everything is clear. I think you've done a great job explaining everything, really clear. And yeah, you really go over almost everything, or even everything that is important to set up and get working on it. So yeah, I think the user to watch the video and gets the Nextbase, I think you will be able to set it up in an hour or so.
Hopefully, yeah. That is the goal. So we want them to be able to set up as quickly as possible. But I'm really glad that you liked the setup. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, everything is really nicely structured. And yeah, I saw along before I was checking Nextbase and everything, I was checking your reviews on web pages and stuff, obviously, and I wanted to know. And yeah, of course, I only saw good reviews regarding the software and the general architecture, and it was right. Great job, and I'm really proud of what you did.
Thank you, Vasco. This means a lot. Yeah, I appreciate it. Also, I really appreciate the time you took. This has been a long recording. It's not easy, but thank you very much.
No, it was my pleasure. At the end, I was learning, and it's more useful for me. It's as useful for you, so we're all winning with this.
Thank you, Vasco. All right, so thanks, man. I'm going to stop the recording, but we can continue the discussion if you want. 1 sec.